Two filmmakers got the same brand email.
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
Same brief, same budget, same line item. We love your work, we want to work with you. But only one of them is getting paid. The other one is still staring at a hard drive with no name on it. You see, the difference wasn't their real. It was a missing signature and a folder nobody could open on a deadline. That is the underbelly of the whole AI conversation that I don't think enough people are actually talking about. So California has a law that makes AI companies show their homework, for lack of a better phrase.
How is this? Homework?
They have to say what they used to build their models. So most people hear that and they sort of just shrug it off. I hear a purchase order. Just think about the last year on your feed. Wall-to-wall AI clips, a ton of AI schlop that nobody actually even had the rights to. I remember when I started experimenting with AI and the amount of celebrity faces that were appearing in anything that you created was alarming. Then platforms started flipping towards asking permission first, which should have happened in the beginning. Making something in public is not the same as being allowed to sell it in public. Somebody still actually has to prove where it came from. So just hold those two filmmakers in your head for a second.
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
And also hold that purchase order I mentioned too. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why one of them ate and how to make sure that you are not the one that is left unpaid. So if you missed last week's episode, you're fine. Here is the only thing you need to remember. People used to take creative work without asking. You were probably one of them without even realizing it. So that era is ending. This episode is the next part, the paperwork part, the part where that purchase order that we just mentioned stops being abstract and actually starts asking for names and keeping receipts. If you make films or videos and you want to keep getting paid for them, please stick with me. I want to talk about the California law that was passed. So it's called the AB 2013. You might have heard of it. It's kind of roaming around the news headlines a little bit. If a company puts out an AI system that people in California can use, it has to post a public summary of what it was trained on, where the material came from, whether they paid for it, whether it includes copyrighted work, whether it includes personal information, whether some of it was made by another machine. That is the whole thing. It only really forces them to show what they used. And here's where a lot of really overly confident people get it wrong online. Disclose. This is kind of like the source page at the back of a book report. You listed what you used, and remember, listing it is not the same as asking first. Consent. That is asking before you borrow, like asking your friend before you take their car.
Can I use your car again?
Showing what you used does not ask you anything. It just reports. License. That is the written rules of the borrow. How long? What? Can anybody else use it to? Number 4, pay. Money actually changed hands, and it landed with the person who actually made the thing. 4 boxes. They do not automatically connect. The company can show what it used perfectly and still never ask you, never sign anything, and never pay you a cent. So proof of where it came from is not permission. And a lot of people seem to be getting that confused. Think of it like a flashlight. It shows you the whole room, but it does not pay your rent. A flashlight in a dark room changes how people behave, because now the people writing the checks can see everything inside the room that it took to create that room's design. And once they can see the room,
What a beautiful room.
they start writing purchase orders with finer detail. Now remember those 2 filmmakers that I mentioned?
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
This is the moment that the email leaves the brand's legal team and it falls into their inbox.
You've got mail.
Now, here is why you should care about a California law if you are, I don't know, shooting weddings in Lagos, Nigeria, or filming a documentary in Lisbon. You're probably wondering, how does this relate? Because that purchase order I just mentioned does not stay inside the AI company. It rolls all the way downhill onto a form that lands on your desk. It's kind of the same energy as we love your work, but with a trapdoor underneath it. So here's the simpler way to say it. Buying your work is kind of like starting to buy a used car. The buyer doesn't just want the car keys, they want the title, the paperwork that proves they actually own the vehicle. And here's where it shows up on your set. A good example is on your next brand job. The client's lawyers add a line to make sure that you promise everything that you're handing over is cleared, and that no AI material built on somebody else's work is baked into the cut that you deliver. That used to be somewhat of a scary hypothetical, but it's actually happening every single day, and it's going to get more and more frequent as the laws continue to evolve. Another good example are festival submissions. The festival submission forms actually already asks whether you are, swearing to the rights and that everything you see on screen is owned by you. Archival, that one shot a friend that you use over text message, all of it counts now. And you could be in deep trouble if you don't start recording it. Oh, and I forgot to mention your insurance. Filmmakers typically buy a policy that covers mistakes on a film. That has always been a paperwork exam. So the exam just got new questions about AI. Another good example is whoever holds the hard drive, not who has a copy of the content on the hard drive, but who holds the original, the real one. And can they actually show the trail from the camera all the way through to delivery? I know this stuff sounds so intricate and nuts, but this is what matters now. We're in a whole new world.
So new world.
So the rules you click yes on when submitting to a film festival and uploading are a little bit different these days. You should go and read what the platform says, what it can do with your work. That's also covered in our last episode where I gave a full breakdown of a bunch of keywords you can search for in the terms and conditions. Go check it out in the link below. I also want you to go ahead and check the privacy policy too. So that is a true business decision. It's not just a regular checkbox that you have to click. Are you starting to see the pattern? Brand job, festival insurance, master drive, upload rules, 5 different doors, same purchase order energy. Prove it or we cannot buy your work. This is the new reality. One more thing and then I promise I'll move on. So a big studio can sit down and cut a licensed AI deal. Music labels have been cutting deals too. You probably cannot. Until now, until cinema. Which means for the rest of us, cleared is turning into a spec. Like a resolution or a frame rate. Specs get enforced, and this will start being the new enforcement spec. Here's a little bit of the uncomfortable part, and I say this as someone who wants to see these laws work. Showing what you used helps the buyer first. It does not hand you power. The question is, can you prove what you own now? Whether you did it 10 years ago or whether you just did it in your kitchen 2 hours ago. Kind of the same thing here. So those 2 filmmakers that I mentioned right in the beginning, same brand deal, same email, same we love your work. Filmmaker A has a binder.
5-pound binder with tabs for everything.
Signed releases, permits, music licenses, a delivery log, an archive that somebody actually maintains. They answer back in one afternoon. The invoice goes out, they get paid, and voila. Filmmaker B has 11 different hard drives.
I can't find it.
3 of them are unlabeled. Beautiful work on every single one of them and probably a little bit better footage than Filmmaker A. They don't have any releases for 2 actors in one of the best scenes. That scene that the brand fell in love with and the reason why they reached out in the first place. Legally, it can't clear by Friday, so the job moves on. Same talent, same eye, same years of grinding, different bank accounts. And honestly, not because anybody judged the art, but because nobody could check rights clearance, the ownership. So that is really what I mean when I say that this is a buying moment. The purchase order shows up. One filmmaker could answer it, the other filmmaker couldn't. And if you felt a little sick just now because maybe you've just recently been through this, well, good. That feeling is the point. Once proof becomes more normalized, a missing signature stops being a private mess. It becomes a no. Just think of it how it used to be done before. A hole in your records used to probably cost you nothing. And now it costs you the invoice on that order, your mortgage, your next rental payment. This stings a little bit is because it's hurting the people that are running on trust and momentum, which is truly what most independent filmmakers do, including me for many, many years. So the fix isn't very glamorous, unfortunately, but it is a habit. And being a creative person, habits can feel a little hard if they're not sexy. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be fun in order for it to become a habit for us. I'm not going to walk you through a ton of court ruling filings because snooze fest. I just don't think that I need any sort of ruling to make my point here. And if you're following along as a filmmaker in a career, you are kind of getting it too. Look at the pattern. Just think about an NFL referee going to the monitor. The play stops, everybody waits. And then the argument sort of becomes one sentence. Can we see the tape? So that is what every single one of these fights does. Can we see the tape? Replay. Touchdown. Sports. Touchdown! Whatever that means. Win or lose, it forces the same question into the room. Can anyone actually show what went into the thing? So creators probably already know this feeling. It's kind of the same energy as a copyright claim on your channel. Somebody has to prove ownership, and it usually only lands on whoever kept the records. So I really want you to stop reading lawsuits like a scoreboard.
The scoreboard said it all.
and the battle would conclude.
So a couple of things that you can actually do this month. Number 1, label your stuff and write down who has it. This is like the labeled lunch in the shared fridge. Nobody really argues about the sandwich with the name on it, right? Project format, where the real file lives, who can get into it, and where all the backups are. If you cannot say who holds it, you do not have control. It's that simple. Number 2, I really want you to start chasing down your missing signatures. Talent, location, kids, music, archival. Go through your last best 3 projects, the ones that a buyer would actually want, and find the holes. Get signatures now while everyone still likes you. And just remember, a friendly text is not a signature. Number 3, read the rules you clicked yes on. Go ahead and open your platform's terms. Remember, I sent a tutorial for you to do that in the previous video. Use the same keyword list I mentioned as well. Don't just search AI. Actually use the keywords I gave you. That's really going to help you. Then go look at your account setting. Screenshot it with the date, like a thrift store receipt you keep in case someone asks. The 4th thing I really want you to do is keep a paper trail of everything that proves that a human made it. Notes, project files, versioning, data exports. 15 seconds of this because it matters, and when somebody asks what made it and how was this made, this information is really going to be your saving grace. It'll tell you explicitly this was made by ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever. You get my point. I want you to start keeping the receipts of your own thinking. If you came up with a new idea, record it, track it somewhere. Number 5, say yes on purpose or do not say yes. If your work happens to end up in a data set, that should be because you agreed to it, with rules and with clear money attached. So that is the difference between something like Spotify and burning CDs in a basement, even though Spotify could do a little bit more for their creatives. Now remember, public does not mean free. I want to see and live in a world where AI adapts to creators and not the other way around. That might be wishful thinking, but I think we're on our way there. And that is this whole month. This is everything I'm talking about. The work you do before the purchase order hits your inbox is so, so important. And I'm going to be a little careful here because I run a company in this space and I will not pretend that a law is a product feature. There's no real tool ever that can make you compliant. Nobody can sell you that. So let me just tie the bow on this whole video. Remember the 2 filmmakers I keep mentioning. The one got paid, the other one did not. We watched filmmaker A open the binder, and we watched filmmaker B open 11 unlabeled drives. Like I mentioned before, same talent. This is not a talent conversation. The unpaid filmmaker is not the villain of the story. The unpaid filmmaker is most of us. If we keep running on trust and momentum alone, we will all be caught in this trap. You can't close filmmaking deals on handshakes anymore and do your buddy a solid because you're giving him an opportunity to be in a film. When the rules start forcing companies to show what they used, buying gets really picky, and only the people with the right paperwork are starting to get invited. Disclosure is a procurement event, and only creators with records get a seat at the table. The industry is moving from taking to buying because the laws are moving that way. It's no longer a choice. Buyers need the documents in order to close the deal with you. The people who get paid next are not always the best shooters. Sometimes they're just really good at paperwork without a 2-week scramble through old drives. So how does all of this infrastructure actually help filmmaker A win that email? Not by magic, and certainly not by compliance in a box. But it really is just quite simply finding the boring stuff and making it easy to find. Host your work in one place. One place you have full control over, instead of 11 different drives and a prayer. Protect the record of who actually made it, so the paper trail is not living in your brain at 2 a.m. in the morning. Start watching where it shows up, so you're not the last person to know when your scene is circulating somewhere or being reused on the internet. You can actually start licensing individual clips and scenes, sound design, on your terms. So saying yes means rules and money, not just a shrug and a screenshot, but you have to stay compliant these days. That is the stack that we've built at Cinema, where you can host, protect, monitor, and monetize your work on your terms. It's like a paper trail you can actually point to when brands and studios and AI model trainers come to you and they want to really pay you good money for your work. A path for you to actually say yes on purpose if you want to, with your consent, not the other way around and not scraped without your permission. So the thing is about Cinema, it's not going to chase your missing 2019 signatures for you. That you still have to do on your own. It's also not going to turn a really messy shoot into a clean one overnight. It will give Filmmaker B the opportunity to sort of do all the cool things that Filmmaker A will be doing because everything is in line. I have a question for you. In the comments, give me your hardest ownership questions. And that might be a bit strange, but really think about it. Probably the ownership question you've been avoiding. You could ask me anything like, who owns the real footage of the job that ended badly? You could also ask me about what you could do about a signature you never got in 2019. And I promise you that the best question to come out of the comments this week will be probably the next episode or a episode in this whole series about ownership. If you want to keep learning and keep understanding how you can own your work in this crazy future and era of AI that we find ourselves in, please subscribe. It's going to be so helpful for us to get the message out there and make sure that all creatives get paid ethically. I want you to be Filmmaker A on purpose. In our next video, we're probably going to be talking a little bit more around what it takes to walk away from a platform that's been quietly holding your life's work. I know a lot of you are dealing with this right now, so that will be a good one. Subscribe and you will be the first to know when it lands.